Welcome to Taiwanica. If you're looking for a podcast that is fun, deep, and insightful about the cultures in Taiwan and the USA, you're in the right place. This power couple tells real-life stories and cold hard facts while bringing you chill vibes, funny jokes, and special points of view that you can't find anywhere else. Now, your hosts, Anita and Eric.
This is episode 23, talking about voting. Welcome to Taiwanica. Hi, everybody. I am Anita. I'm your beloved host of Taiwanica and amazing talker on Amazing Talker. That's
amazing
right.
Amazing talker on Amazing Talker.
Yeah, more likely. Like right now, we've been like talking about my students' problem and try to help them to solve them. So I'm calling myself Amazing Talker.
Wow, you
I'm
are Amazing Talker.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, you guys hear his voice. He is our Eric.
Okay. Well, thanks for the great welcoming, Anita.
welcome.
You're really on it today.
I know.
I'm so proud of you. What's up, everybody? It's Eric here. Your other amazing host on Taiwanica. Also, you know, I'm an all right teacher on Amazing Talker. I mean, I talk amazingly, but would I call myself an amazing talker? I don't know about that.
Today's Saturday. Turn it down a little bit.
I'm going to probably turn it up back to when I was 21. Oh, wow. I don't know if I can turn it up that high.
Who knows what that means?
Well, you know, anyways.
You don't want to know.
Well, at least
Don't
I would
ask.
be legally allowed to vote by that age, you know.
So,
Yes.
we're talking about voting today.
That's right. So, Anita,
Yes.
can you tell us about your experience of voting?
Oh, of course. I remember my very first time going voting
Yeah.
is, to be honest, I don't remember which year, but that was 10 years ago when I was 20, which
Okay.
is the legal age for Taiwanese people to vote,
Yep.
is 20 years old. And I remember that year was the first time Tsai Ing-wen joined the what is
Presidential election.
presidential election.
That's
I
how
don't
we
know what
talk all the time.
happened today. Presidential election. And also that year has like what is the word again?
Referendum?
Exactly. I keep on thinking about Rotterdam. Anyways, so that's why I remember that, because that's the first time people voting about like what's your opinion about same-sex marriage, and so other, like, I think the total was like 12 different topics for you to vote, and that caused a chaos in the voting history of Taiwan. So that's why I remember that's my first time voting
Wow.
in Taiwan.
And did you vote for Tsai Ing-wen?
We say we are going to stay neutral, but
All
yes,
right.
I still vote for her.
We're staying neutral in this. We're trying to keep the peace. No matter who you vote for, no matter who you are, we love you. So voting is totally a human right?
Yes, and I think we should again have a open communication and transparent conversation about voting, because voting, the main principle is for everybody has their right to vote who they support.
Yep.
So don't feel shame. I support A and you support B. We have to be like enemy or something.
No.
It's not what we are promoting here.
No, not at all. We're just
Yeah.
trying to share a comparison between Taiwan and the USA about what are some interesting similarities and
Yeah.
differences, and also a couple little stories here. So we're not here to cause any controversy, so you can listen with ease.
Yes. If you're angry or something or disagree with us, go outside, hug a tree.
Yeah. I heard that helps.
It does.
Yeah.
All right. So we love everybody. Okay. So let's dive into all the details today.
All right, sure. So you said the legal age in Taiwan to vote is 20, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. In the USA, it's only 18.
It's really interesting. Like a lot of legal age in the rules in America. It's quite funny. Like you guys can drink alcohol when you are 21, but
Yeah.
you can vote when you are 18.
Yep.
And you can drive a car when you're 16.
Yep.
It's wow.
Yeah, we got a lot of different numbers. And we
Yes.
can rent a car when we're 25.
So you cannot rent a car before you're 25?
Yep, that's the oldest age thing. After 25, there's no more age restrictions.
What is this rule? You can.
We're not here to talk about cars.
Sorry.
We're talking here about voting. Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, but it's funny
Right.
how we can at the same age of being able to smoke cigarettes also vote, but we can't drink alcohol and we can't rent a car.
Gotcha.
And it's pretty funny, don't you think?
Yeah, super.
Yeah, super duper.
Not just the age, and other more details about voting is also very interesting for me as a Taiwanese. Because in Taiwan, it's very straightforward. Voting day, it doesn't have a set date, but every time when you go voting, for mayor, for any other thing, it's always on Saturday.
It's always on Saturday.
Always.
Yeah, I remember when I lived in Tainan specifically, when it was time to vote.
Yeah.
The train station, the bus station, it was just so chaotic. There were people like everywhere, just jam packed, and it wasn't like there were foreigners; they were all Taiwanese. And I was just like, what are the Taiwanese people doing? Like, it got
going home.
I didn't know that. When I saw that, I was just like, did something happen in this country? I was just like on my little Gogoro, and all of a sudden I just see this crowd everywhere of just Taiwanese people. I thought, is there like a game? Like a baseball game? Or is there like, is there's like this big like thing that everyone's saying, okay, it's time to get out of the country.
Yeah,
we're going on a Taiwanese field trip to Japan.
Choo-choo. Anyways.
So that's awkward. So, but
people going home voting.
Yeah, in Taiwan, people go home to vote. Yeah, that's a thing. You have to do that.
Yes, you have to go to your register home address.
Okay, so
vote.
Where is that? Like your parents' house, basically?
If your address was registered under your parents' house, then you have to go back.
Is it hard to change that?
Change the address?
Yeah.
No, but most people don't really do that.
It's not customary. It's just your home is your parents' home.
Yeah, usually it's like that. Unless you get married and then you will move out your, and then, to the husband's family.
That's why in Chinese you would like say 我们家, and then this 家 house is usually your parents' house unless you're married, and then that 家 becomes the other person's house.
Or, another new house you guys bought together. Things like that.
Wow. This word is so deep. Yes.
So, it doesn't have really like deep meaning. You just go back to your home address to vote.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
so
the rule.
you go there and how do you vote?
Pretty simple. Few weeks, I guess. Yeah, a few weeks before the voting day, the ballot will mail to your house.
Oh, okay.
So again, it will the government will know because you said you have the paper like this registered address has how many people here and how many people are legally how many people are legal to vote this year. So they will give you the ballot. Each ballot will have the person's name and ID numbers on it.
Okay.
So on the voting day, you just grab that ballot and with your ID card. And with your stamp, the stamp has your name on it.
Yeah.
Those two things. Go to the place to vote.
Okay. That seems pretty straightforward in Taiwan. Wow, so easy. I really wish it was that easy in the USA.
That's so crazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, we'll get to the USA part in a second here. But so basically, it's on Saturday. You got to be at least 20.
Yep.
The ballot will be sent to this residential address. I'm doing air quotes right now. And the little bunnies. And then the results will happen when?
The same day.
The same day of what? You go home?
No, the voting day. Usually.
Oh, there's a voting day.
Yes. So like I say, it's always on Saturday. So you will start voting around 7 at that day and will finish voting you cannot vote later than 4 4 p.m. So
Wow.
at 4 p.m.,
Okay.
all the voting locations were closed.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. That's a very similar rule to the USA. We have a specific time for a specific state. Each state has a different time.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, so for example, if you're like in Alabama, I think it's like from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. But anyways, back to the story here in Taiwan. You're saying it's 7 to 4.
Yes.
Okay.
7 to 4. And after they closed their voting locations, they will start to count the votes.
Okay.
Which is very straightforward. Like we just count.
Do you count them by hand?
Yes. You know, the TV news usually will have live. You know, they will show you different locations. For example, the voting place in Taipei, they will show you, you know, they will just take out the vote and say it out loud and show everybody.
They say it out loud.
Yeah, and then show the camera. There will be a camera there. So you have to show a camera, for example,
Whoa.
candidate A got 1, you know, and then show everybody, show the camera, and there will be a person who's counting, you know, like
That's
this.
really interesting.
Yeah, everything is very transparent and clear.
Wow. In the USA, it's not like that at all. There are way too many people counting the votes because there's just a lot of people in the USA.
That's
so
true.
we have to have a lot of people count them, and then they mark it. So they mark which one got which, and they have to be very honest about it. So we have to trust our votes with other people's judgment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for us, we also have like some detailed rules. For example, you can only use the stamp they provide to vote, and there will be a certain place on your ballot you need to put the stamp on. Otherwise, if you put into the, you know,
Wrong
out
area?
of the box or, you know,
What will happen?
it won't count.
If you're not in the box, you don't get a vote?
You can vote, but it just won't count.
You're uncounted? You're not part of the team when you don't put in the box?
He is not drunk or anything, I promise you guys. That's just him.
I'll just calm down.
Normal.
Deep
It's
breath,
sad
deep
today,
breath. Okay.
You know, just give him some time.
Okay, I understand.
With
Wow,
love.
so the box. Got it. Stamp in the box.
Yeah.
Stamp it good.
And-
if you don't count.
Yeah, the vote won't count. And I mentioned it earlier, you have to bring your own personal stamp to the voting space,
Right.
Voting locations,
Yep.
right? That show them that you went voting.
Oh.
So be very careful. You cannot use your personal stamp to vote to put it on the ballot. They will also be uncounted.
Oh wow!
The
So
vote.
if you have like everyone in Taiwan has got that little stamp that has
Yeah.
like your Chinese name on it, and then so that's a personal one.
Yep.
But in order to vote, you got another stamp.
Yes.
And you gotta bring that one if you.
That they will provide it in the voting locations.
Wait. So there's a stamp in the voting location with your name on it.
No.
Oh, so you're just this is the voting stamp.
Yeah, that
And
looks
so
like a circle, has something in it.
So you have to use it
Yeah.
correctly.
Yes.
So don't be a dum-dum when you're using the stamp. And don't
Yes.
bring your own stamp.
Yes.
Wow. Very interesting.
careful.
In the USA, it's not like that at all. Basically, your ballot, I mean, it depends on which state you're in. We'll get into all that a little bit later, of course. But basically, you're usually given something with your name on it. And then you put in your information into a machine, you know, and then, you know, get all the details put in there and then pick your person and then you're done.
Yeah, that's for me. Like for us, it's really, really hard to imagine. And also, you guys have like a mailed voting thing.
Yep. That which has gotten very trendy recently.
That's trendy,
because
okay.
of COVID-19.
Ah.
Yeah, but we'll yeah. I mean, I guess if we want to talk about that a little bit now, yeah. I mean, some states they only have mail-in voting options. Like the state that we live in, Oregon, you can only mail in your ballot. So it's actually only
the only option.
It's the only option. So. So if you want to vote, you have to make sure that your residential address is updated. And keep in mind, we don't have like our parents' home usually in the USA. I mean, it is a thing for some people, but for a lot of people are moving around once a year. So, for us, if you don't keep your local address updated, then you're going to maybe not be able to vote that year. Of course, you can change it, but you just have to keep it in mind in the back of your head as an American all the time.
Yeah.
Like, do I have my voting address updated?
Oh, God.
So got to keep on doing that here. But it's probably the most accurate type of voting that we have in the USA.
Mail voting?
Yep, mail voting, because they open it just like you were saying here in Taiwan. You would be able to see the information automatically and can automatically be put in. The other voting style that I'm aware of is using a machine that is located at a certain location, and you have to either go there at a very obscure time on the voting day and wait very long hours outside, and then once you get there, there's a couple things that could happen. Like if you're one of the first people there, the machine's doing great, you can totally just vote and you're done. But for some other communities where they have the voting places, and for people who work really late and they have to vote at last minute, because we vote on Tuesday, not on Saturdays. And the reason for that, by the way, is because originally when our country was formed and we were allowing voting, we were a very old country, and we thought it's not a good idea to vote on Sunday because that is God's day, so
Isn't it God's day on the Sunday?
That's exactly what I said. So just saying on Sunday, yes. And so she was just too interested in my voice. And so because of not voting on Sunday, we thought it would be better to do it on a Tuesday because on a Monday you need to travel from church all the way to the voting place because back then there were no cars. We only had the little caravans of, where they were being pulled by cows and and there's maybe pumpkins there. Oh, and on Wednesday we would stay in the town where you vote to sell our produce, our farm produce to the town and make a little money after voting. So this was our method back in the day, and it has stayed the same ever since. That is America's Tuesday. First Tuesday of November. So any day between the 1st of November to the 8th of November.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys vote on Tuesday.
Yes.
And you have to use machine, and then you have to be...
Or mail ballots.
Mail ballots, but mail ballots is more legit.
Yep, and convenient.
Convenient. And, machine, they will have some other problems.
Yes, so back to that story. If you go in late, the machine has been touched by many people. And so sometimes, and this is what, people say, who knows it's true or not, but when certain people, especially people of race, go into these places, they say, oh, the machine is broken.
Just because they don't want you to vote?
Yes. Or, oh, the machine is glitchy. And then sometimes it's true. There are some machines that start breaking because they've been touched by too many people.
And been running
all day. And so by the time they have someone at, like, say, for example, Alabama, where the last voting time is around 6, I said. So if you go there like 5:30, the machine will have lots of problems and you might not be able to vote that year.
Wow.
So it's a really bad system. And so because of COVID-19, a lot of states are now trying to do this new way of just allowing people to do mail-in ballots. Trump was very upset about this when it happened because...
Mr. Trump.
Yes, but... because of previous things that happened in the elections, another big thing that happened that caused people to have problems with the American election was in the Facebook or like Instagram or any social media, you could actually advertise for a president on those platforms. So you say vote for Trump or vote for Biden or vote for Hillary Clinton or vote for Obama. They could put those on Facebook advertisements, and it actually influenced a lot of people. So that was another thing I really wanted to talk about, is just basically big problems with the whole election. It was that the mail-in ballots became a huge popular thing because of COVID-19, but also advertising for presidents is a humongous problem in the United States. We actually stopped doing it We try to stop allowing people to advertise in presidential elections. Twitter, I think, said no more voting at all. Facebook is, I think, also restricted it significantly because apparently it really influenced the elections so much that the Hillary Clinton and Trump election was influenced a lot because apparently Russia meddled with these kind of things.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting idea how people's voting interests can be altered gently by just measly seeing those pictures online.
I mean, social media has its impact and influences on modern time.
Yes. So that's like part of the campaign, right?
Yeah.
So and that's a big thing that people are trying to understand how advertising affects the human mind. But back to I'm talking about two things at once here, I understand, which is, voting because of COVID-19 has changed a lot in a much better way. That's kind of like Taiwan, where it's just like, you fill in the bubbles, people look at them clearly and make sure they get charted down accurately.
Yeah.
Whereas the machines, they have a problem when you're putting them in. Now imagine when you're looking at them as a result.
Yeah.
They can be easily hacked. They can be easily be changed. And that's one of the main reasons why Donald Trump was really upset about this, because he's thinking, oh my gosh, maybe...
Do the voice.
Well, I can't do the voice.
You cannot do his voice?
And I can't do it. I'm trying to be very equal here. People who like Donald Trump, I mean, good for you. You have your reasons for it. But the one thing that was very clear on the news was that he was very upset about the mail-in ballots. And there's a good reason for it because, it cost a lot more time. Usually we would find out the results of the election within a day or two, kind of like Taiwan. But now because of mail-in ballots, we have to count each one by hand. And we have around 400, 500 million people in the United States. Half of them can vote. So that means around 200, 250 million can vote. So that's a lot of people counting a lot of paper.
Yeah.
So because of that, we had a humongous delay. It took about 2 full weeks to find out Joe Biden becoming the president. But it is really accurate. So if we could find a way and adapt, kind of like adopt Taiwan's method, I think America would have a much easier time voting.
I think, every kind of change, especially change for the better, it requires time and people to adapt to it, get used to it. So, the first time you guys do the mail voting, it's kind of chaotic, but I'm pretty sure the more you guys do it, the better change will happen.
Sure, the development of it could definitely become more expansive, more well organized. There will be no COVID to worry about. So it's hopefully states will actually transform their system where they'll actually do that. But each state in the United States technically also represents an independent province. So we're capable of changing the laws within the state when we have federal laws, which are all the country's laws for this. And so in each state, people vote for things on the ballots that you can't vote for, like in other states. So, for example, let's say that Colorado, the center state of the United States, wants to vote for everyone who owns a horse can go fishing on it. So if you own a horse, you can ride your horse while fishing at the same time. And so people can vote on that in Colorado. But since I'm in Oregon, I can't say anything about it. I can't be like, hey, Colorado, don't do that. That's not a good idea. I can't tell my opinion. In Taiwan, you don't really have this, do you? In each province of Taiwan, like if you live in Taichung, there's not a special thing just in Taichung that you can vote for, right?
Usually, like the big ones. Right now, I think Taiwan's law and rules is trying to make all the election happen together, on one day, so everybody can vote. It will save a lot of it would be easier if we just do that. Especially when Taiwan's is very small country, you know, just keep it simple. So usually we just pretty much vote for the same thing.
You just vote for Taiwan.
Yes.
So if Taiwan says, oh, hey, we're going to maybe do this thing in Taichung, you're not thinking about Taichung being a different place of Taiwan. You're thinking, oh, Taiwan wants to improve this thing in Taichung.
It's more like different kind of election or different candidates will have different opinions. So if it's just president, you know, they will have the policies of for Taiwan.
Looking at it as a whole
Thing.
So like focusing on the education system or focusing on the healthcare, welfare, all this stuff. Oh, I see. Okay, but you don't have these special kind of elections when you're voting?
Just the mayor.
Oh, mayor. Yeah. So mayor will say this kind of stuff.
Yeah, like, of course, it's like...
And you can vote for the mayor?
Yes, you can.
Oh, is that on the same day?
It depends. Usually, yes. For like the main cities of Taiwan, like Taipei, Kaohsiung, Taichung.
They're on the same day.
New Taipei City, yes. They're usually the same day as a presidential election.
Oh, and you can vote for them?
Vote for mayor?
Yeah.
Yes.
In Kaohsiung?
I cannot vote for the mayor in Kaohsiung. I can vote for the mayor in Taichung because I'm from Taichung.
You're from Taichung.
Exactly.
Okay, so there are some restrictions then. Okay, so if you're from Kaohsiung, you can vote for the person in Kaohsiung. But if you're in Taichung, you can vote for the mayor in Taichung.
Yep.
Like this. Oh, okay. So there are just some like special circumstances but they're not many.
No.
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, I didn't know that about Taiwan. So it is kind of similar then. So if, in Taichung, the mayor says we want to ride horses and fish at the same time, that would totally be... If
Taiwan, the people from Taichung agree with it, we can
vote for that mayor.
Yeah.
So, all right, I want that mayor.
Let's do that.
Nay, fish. All right.
Or if some like candidate will have some really awesome policy, you know, for example, I'm from Taichung, but if there was a mayor candidate has some really pretty awesome policy in Kaohsiung. We will encourage our friends who are from Kaohsiung. It will push them go back to vote for that.
I think you're touching on another very interesting topic here, which is the influence of others to vote for someone. And that's a humongous thing in the United States as well, where we have, I know in Taiwan, you have two parties. And two major parties, just like the USA, but our names are quite different. In USA, we have the Democrats and the Republicans. Democrat is blue, Republicans are red, and they kind of are affiliated with certain groups of people. So, for example, the Republicans is kind of like the way that America is, looking at the Constitution exactly how it is, and loving the country that was created, the original ways, and, liking things that help build our country, like, the religious backgrounds, the cultural backgrounds of like the first, immigrants from, from Europe and like following their traditions, to a T. We love justice and USA, so you see, lots of, people who think this way, and vote Republican, especially in like the South of the United States. It really depends on which state, but definitely in the East Coast, and in the southern part of the USA, there's a lot of Republicans, and so that's because, the people around there really think that way. A lot of people in those states have that mindset. It's like, hey, you should vote for, Trump is a Republican. So, they'd be like, hey, you should vote for Donald Trump because he totally follows our belief of making America great again. And so that feeling that passion of like the original United States, what it like represented,
the glory
of the glory time, this golden age that so a lot of Republicans, admired and want to bring back. On the other hand, Democrats, they're blue. They have a different perspective. They're more focused on, bringing in the world to the United States, kind of like making, instead of United States being like this idolized country, they're like, okay, we represent a huge part of the world. And so we want to be able to cooperate with the world. This is their mindset. And so that globalized mindset, the development of the nation, like trying new different things, definitely different from Republicans. Republicans really like the traditional way. Democrats are more trying to be dynamic, try different styles of things to see how they go in order to accept possibility of something different, maybe bringing better results. That's their way of thinking. So that's why we have a lot of controversy and clash within the United States. Democrats are very common to see on the west coast of the United States and scattered through the center of the United States and some eastern states as well, such as New York and New Jersey, I think. But anyways, the idea here is that basically we have these two really separated, polarized groups of people who are, even though they're working together, they have a lot of friction because of just the way that they think and where they come from. Do you think it's the same in Taiwan, Anita?
Pretty much. I am being a listener here because, there are a lot of things going on in America. I'm just like sitting here nodding and listening. Thank you for sharing the information.
Sure.
We are very curious about, like the other day, the vote took whole America for like 2 weeks to get the result. Every Taiwanese people was like, what is happening? Why are you guys taking so long? So thank you so much for explaining that. So back to the question you asked me. In Taiwan, we also have two major parties.
Okay.
It's 国民党 and 民进党. So to make it simpler, the Green Party and Blue Party. Okay. So, Green Party, Tsai Ing-wen is from Green Party.
Okay.
Right. So the other party, we have the Blue Party. I cannot think of any, representative right now, but basically we have two parties, Green and Blue. They are both trying to bring unity to Taiwan, but the definition is a little bit different. Blue Party, they wanted to bring unity between China and Taiwan. And Green Party wanted to bring unity within Taiwan. So just keep it simple like this. So basically, based on their policy, you can see, Blue Party, they are more wanting to, just pretty much like you say, they wanted to bring the old-time glories when, the China still ruled Taiwan, sort of things like that. And, of course, Taiwan is no longer like that. We are an independent country. And also Green Party is more focused on bringing the unity and, to having international identity as Taiwan. It's more like that. Again, I'm not saying which one is better, which one is worse, just telling you what they are supporting. So whenever it's an election, it's very obvious, like there are a lot of fights, and even the supporters, they will having some personal opinion on social media or anything like that. So it's pretty much pretty common. And just like you say, in Taiwan, we also have some certain cities or areas, it's like
they're pro-blue or pro-green.
Yeah. So basically, the souther you go, more people are supporting green.
The souther you go, the more green it is.
Yeah, the more green it is. Yes. But it's this year, the situation in Taiwan's changed a lot. So I would say it's no longer like that. It's nothing is certain. Before, if you say, someone's from Tainan, it's definitely green. Someone's from Taipei, it's definitely blue. But it's no longer like that because I'm proud to say in Taiwan, there are a lot of changes are happening. I mentioned there are two major parties, but actually there are other parties.
Smaller parties?
Smaller parties. They are starting to rise up. of course, they are not as powerful as, like either blue or green, but they are making some small changes.
Oh,
they
interesting.
are, like awakening for a lot of Taiwanese people. So I'm very proud to say that's the changes happening in Taiwan.
Would you say that the parties in Taiwan are, in the United States, they're polarized, but primarily because they are identifying not only a location, like we were just talking about Taiwan, North blue, South green, America, all different locations are either red or blue. But it's also kind of has to do with age, I really feel like. A lot of Americans, I mean, this is not everybody, but a majority of people who are red, Republican, kind of fall into an older generation. What about, and on the other hand, in contrast, the Democrats are generally younger. So would you say Taiwan is the same? Blue being older, green being younger, or it really doesn't matter?
I would say both parties are starting to getting younger and younger. The candidates they represent or ask them to join the election is getting younger and younger. I think they've noticed, they've been having the fight, should we be, be part of China or being Taiwan. They've been fighting for these things for like decades. So I think they've started to notice people don't really want to go vote. It's either, like I said, it's either blue or green. So I think they kind of like noticed the situation changes. So they started to promote something like new ideas, the new flow to, the politics, environments in Taiwan. So either, green or blue, they started to have this, younger generations started to join the election and bring some new ideas, new policies to the citizens.
Interesting.
Yeah, so those are the changes that I mentioned.
Okay, well, it's very interesting how you, even though we both vote, both of our countries vote, both of our countries have these systems in place, and we both come from very historical backgrounds with very big differences. In the end, being people, we have our fights, we have our differences, and we have our beliefs that we really hold strongly. And I think this is a very fascinating phenomenon as humans, because in the end, looking at the word voting by itself, it's very fascinating because a lot of people in the United States don't vote. And I think it's because we don't really understand the power of a vote.
Yeah.
We just think it's a piece of paper, and then we basically pick, hey, you do stuff for us. Okay, thanks. And a lot of people, because we have 400, like I said, there's around 400 million people in the United States, so around 200 million people vote. A lot of people say, well, my vote doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I was like,
and why should I go vote? This has been a big controversial issue in the United States, and I mean humongous. And it's the thing that really I wish more Americans would be awakened to, is that every vote counts, and people have died for this word vote. People have sacrificed so much for this word vote. And I mean, there are people in the United States who still cannot vote. If you become a criminal in the United States and you're in the criminal system, in some states you are no longer allowed to vote. And previously, and for example in the state of Florida, there was a time where criminals, the only way to get their voting rights back were to go and beg for them in the system, and they would most of the time be rejected. And so it's just there's a lot of things that people really push for to be able to represent themselves in their country. And that comes down to the thing that I was talking about in the United States. Whether you're from Texas, whether you're from Oregon, where we are, or whether you're from New York, California, Florida, or wherever, each place you go, each place you see, you're going to see something different in the United States. That's why someone says, oh, I went to the United States to enjoy whatever. I lived in the United States for a year. I'd be like, okay, that's nice, but where? Because no matter where you go, you're going to have a different experience. And I think it's because of voting. Voting really shapes the society that you live in.
That's true.
Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to change, it can only be done as a community voting for that change, and so that's the biggest thing about this whole situation that I wish younger people in the United States would understand better. Yeah.
So in Taiwan, it's the same. Like I mentioned a few years back, people started to get tired of voting. Just like you said, basically just like, what can I do? My vote is just one vote. How can I go vote and change the world? Of course, you cannot change the world just by you. That's why we're saying everybody should go vote. It's like the tiny little change we are mentioning about. Think about this. If a society, without asking about your opinion, you're basically like, they are taking away your voice. Whenever you say, whenever you wanted to create for this society, nobody cares about your opinion. That's basically what you are doing, that without going voting. You just kind of like let everybody decide everything. Just like, in the company, like, hey, what you guys want for our lunch? Everybody just giving their opinions. And then we are like, oh, okay, we heard you and we are going to do something. But you give up on your vote, your right to vote. It's basically just like, I don't care. Do whatever you want. Yeah. I let you decide.
You let them decide, right? Exactly.
Yes.
So if then all of a sudden someone like orders, like, let's say for example, you're allergic to peanuts, and then everyone in the whole entire group says, we want peanut butter sandwiches, and you didn't vote. So guess what you get?
You got nothing.
You get an allergic sandwich.
And you got nothing to complain because
you didn't make anything.
Yeah, you didn't do anything.
Right.
So I think the main point here is, I have literally a note writing down here. I said voting is the realization of civilization.
Ooh.
It's just that very short sentences, but you guys can think about that. And
voting, let's say it again. Voting is the realization
of civilization.
So, in other words, how would you say that?
I would say that's the transformation from baboon to human being.
Baboon. Monkey to working monkey to human. Yes, it's true. Without votes, we can't make change.
Have the awareness about everything that happened in your country. You can make the decision. Don't complain. Make a decision. A lot of the younger generation are just like, what is the point for me to vote? It's either green or blue. If we didn't go vote, Taiwan wouldn't have same-sex marriage. Like the right now.
Good point.
Yeah. If we just let it go through the background, everybody say, oh, we should do that. But without voting, that's nothing. We are just talking.
And, that whole idea, that whole point that you just made, it came from someone's passion, such a deep passion to want to make that a reality. So in other words, having same-sex marriage being legal in Taiwan became a reality because there was that one person who thought, okay, I really want this change. So I have a voice and I'm going to tell other people I want this change. And if there's enough people to say, we want this change too, guess what? You can go vote for it. And then if you see enough people who all agree with you on that idea that you want to change, and you can vote for it, guess what will happen? Your country will change the way you want it to. So it doesn't have to be a piece of paper. It can be so much more. It can be you thinking of that idea to make not only your life better, but your nation better.
Just think about how much you want to change. Just put a little bit of effort to it.
Yep.
It's literally just a little bit of effort to go vote, telling people, what do you think?
And bringing that story back. You remember I mentioned that in Florida, people who were criminals, they weren't allowed to vote.
Yeah.
So one person thought that this was wrong. He was a criminal, and he said, I really want to be able to vote. Okay, so he said that. He said, I'm a criminal, an ex-criminal. Not a real criminal. I'm an ex-criminal. I did my time. I learned my mistakes. And I still want to vote for my country. who else is like me and wants to do this? And he worked hard, and he kept on telling more and more people by just going to town halls, going to community centers, and going and talking in parks and just saying, I want this change. Is there anyone here that wants this change too? And he collected and collected and collected people's opinions and votes. And guess what happened? After doing that for a couple of years of finding enough people who felt the same exact way, they were able to vote for that, and they were able to get it passed, where the criminals, under certain circumstances, were able to vote again in that state. So that's just a great example of anyone can do this. Anyone, if you have the passion, if I'm inspiring you right now to go and make that change that you think was needed for wherever you're listening to this, and you have the ability to change, go do it. Because people will be out there by your side.
Yeah. So just like, I think the very important last message is like, to believe how powerful you are. What big of the change you will be making. So, like back to the same-sex marriage, we need, just like you say, someone think we should do that. And then there are like collecting a lot of people who had the same dream and they make it a reality. So again, realization of civilization. And it's not just in Taiwan. A lot of people are watching the changes Taiwan are making.
Yes.
And we are able to make the impact worldwide. It's not just in Taiwan. So.
Right. For example, just that's the last thing to say here is, a lot of people in Taiwan these days have been asking us about the whole Nancy Pelosi visit to Taiwan. And this is one of the big changes that, I need to just mention about Taiwan, that they're trying to move forward to become more of a independent nation. So Nancy Pelosi, one of America's most validated representatives, went there to make a statement. And that statement is, we are behind Taiwan. We support Taiwan in this sort of way. And so a lot of people were scared when they heard this. And, a lot of people...
why are you coming here to,
Because there was a lot of people were upset with what China might do, right?
Yes, exactly.
But just not to be picking sides, either green or blue here in Taiwan, just keep in mind that, people who come and represent you to say, hey, we are here we got your backs, especially, United States. I would take it as more of a good thing than a bad thing. Yeah. Just because it shows that people really do care about Taiwan.
Exactly.
People really want to support Taiwan and show that, the idea of Taiwan being able to be an independent nation is a good thing. So I know that's a little bit pro-green, but in all honesty, I think, in my opinion, because I'm American, seeing Nancy Pelosi there was an exciting situation.
I think you're more pro the idea instead of pro the party.
Yes, the idea, exactly.
And also, I'm happy to see more people are voting for the policy instead of just the green or blue.
Yes,
so, that's also a good change. I can understand why so many people Taiwanese people are worrying about, like, what would change? What would China do? Because the next day they do have the what do you call that? Drill?
Yeah, military drill. Yeah, people's like, see, you guys come here. But guess what? Those are changes. Yes. There's always going to be a reaction to change.
Yes. Like I always say, like, change, especially change for the better, they will be like chaotic.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, even in, whether it's a country or a person or, just a small little thing, no matter what, any new change will cause a new reaction, no matter what.
So the point is you have to oversee those kind of things and see through the reality what kind of impact this happened already. It's already happened. See it. See the change. Oversee the other people's reaction because that's out of your control. But seeing like Taiwan, America is on our side. Isn't that enough?
Yes. And there's a lot of other things that will happen beyond our ability to see. You know, like for example, just COVID-19 as a quick, taking it as an example here, it's just, you know, we didn't expect that the whole entire world would shut down from it, right? But then it did. And then what else happened? Well, a lot of good things happened from it, you know? So like a lot of people were able to reunite with their families. A lot of people were able to change their lifestyles. A lot of people became aware of the things that they're truly passionate about, you know? None of these things would have happened if COVID-19 didn't happen. Yeah. You know, so it really is just about perspective, isn't it, Anita?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was a wonderful talk. A long talk, but a beautiful.
A little bit deep. Yes. A little bit emotional right now.
Yeah, but it's a very good conversation. Yeah. We hope that you liked it. And keep in mind that on a lighter note, that Anita and I, we're going to be talking about a fun topic next time. We won't say what it is, but just get excited about it and grab a coffee. And also, if you want to help us grab a coffee, you can go to buymeacoffee.com /Taiwanica.
Taiwanica.
And you can give us a small donation there to be able to help us keep our coffee addiction nice and lively. Yes, we don't do drugs, we don't drink alcohol, but when it comes to coffee, when's my next cup?
Have it.
Yes, I need it now.
I don't want my hand to be empty.
Yes, exactly. The brown goodness. Anyways, on that note, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening.
And we're looking forward to having you listen to the next one.
Of course.
All right.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Taiwanica. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.